Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience over here on the Burnettwork. I am, of course, your host, Israel. In this episode, we're going to discuss the summer 2024 anime season and my first impressions to some of the shows, production starting on the second season of Netflix One Piece, and the WIT One Piece anime remake might be using AI. After we discuss the stories, we'll talk about this week's summer anime audience rankings, and finally, we'll get into the comments written by you guys from the last episode. And with all that being said, let's get right into the show. How we doing, people? What's going on? I don't know why I'm extra today. Anyways, happy belated America Day. Happy belated birthday to freedom. Am I right? Am I right? Come on, guys. Anyways, no, in all seriousness, I do want to talk about, there was no episode last week. I know. Here's the thing. It's really difficult for me to, back last year, I was able to make episodes. I had Thursdays off of work, and so I was able to make the show on Thursdays and on Sundays. Now I work all 5 days of the week, and I only have Saturday and Sunday to do it. Well, my schedule's changed, and now Sunday I'm busy. So I essentially only have Saturday to make the show, and last week, Saturday, I just didn't have time to make the show, and so since I don't have any other time to make it, the show just didn't get made. So in the future, if there isn't an episode that comes out, just assume it's because the one day of the week that I was able to make the show, I wasn't able to make it that week. And so I just want to say sorry about that, but we're back. Some interesting stuff did happen. Sony bought Alamo Drafthouse. That was pretty interesting. Suddenly everybody's acting like it's a big surprise that the Demon Slayer movie trilogy for the Infinity Castle arc is happening. Voice crack. And other than that, not too much has happened. It's been kind of a slowish time with a couple of big stories here and there, but we got a good show for you. And so with that being said, let's talk about this summer anime. Well, the summer 2024 anime season is officially upon us. Insert the obligatory comment about how fast time is flying. About half or more of the season, of the anime that will air this season have begun. I've watched a few of them, and I figured I'd give you guys my thoughts on what I've seen so far. And just so you know, I'm not going to be going in and ruining plot points necessarily. At least that's not my intention to do a breakdown of each episode or anything. But I'm going to give my thoughts. I'm going to show some footage. But if you want to go into these episodes completely spoiler free, you might want to skip this section or maybe just turn off the video so you can just hear my voice or, I don't know, maybe come back later. I don't know. But anyways, you've been warned. So if we get over here, this is on Max. I believe Max and Hulu is where this is streaming. This is the Suicide Squad Isekai. And so I just have it pulled up, to the first scene. And here's my thoughts. They're kind of mixed. I really like the animation. The fighting action scenes are insane. And crazy good, really good stuff. And that's in all three of the episodes. You get fights like this. The fighting is great. The animation's great. I mean, it's a WIT production. Of course, it's going to look great. Don't want to show too much footage. I don't want to get in trouble. The biggest thing so far for me is just a story thing. I'm just not into it. I just don't care. The characters aren't the worst. The writing for them is kind of bland, but there's enough of them there that you can kind of feel that personality. I get what they're trying to do with the isekai. They kind of explained it Waller intentionally sent the Suicide Squad here to get this new material, that they can sell in their world, and it'll be great. And then the Suicide Squad goes, and you see that there was, I guess, a previous Suicide Squad that was already there with Katana, with, I think it was, what's his name? It's not the Thinker, is it? Anyways, it might be. But you have these characters that were already there, and they've kind of joined up with, I guess, the Demon King or whoever the villain in this isekai world is. And so now our Suicide Squad is teaming up with the good team in this fantasy world to fight against the evil Suicide Squad and the bad team. And so I guess it's an interesting setup, and to put these characters in an interesting situation. But, it just hasn't really been for me so far. It hasn't been awful, but it hasn't been all that interesting. And especially after 3 episodes, I'm just not hooked. So I might watch the 4th episode, and if I still feel the same, I might finish it, but I might end up, turning this one off just because it's not really my thing. I'm just not vibing with it. A lot of people are though. And so, hey, to each their own. Next, we move on to this show, which is Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian, aka the Feet anime, because this was the one that if you were on Twitter over the past few weeks, because it was in promotional material, as well as this week, you probably just saw this scene where he's like trying to put a sock on her foot. Yeah, this scene. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, what? Anyways, getting to the actual important stuff of the episode, I actually think this is pretty cute. The humor was kind of cool. I like the twist that it's not like a major twist, but it's an interesting twist that they reveal in the first episode that while Alia, speaks in Russian to hide her true feelings, our main dude over here, I forget his name, he actually knows Russian, but he doesn't tell her. So he actually knows everything she's saying. And then he just plays dumb and he's like, oh, what did you say? And she's like, I called you an idiot or something. But then he secretly knows that she's like flirting with him in Russian. So that's kind of a cute setup. I'm waiting to see how that pans out. The joke might get old, but maybe he tells her, but maybe not. We'll see if they can keep the gag going. But for the first episode, I was decently entertained. I had a good time. The animation's good. The ending is catchy as heck. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Listen to this, bro.
Are you ready? Hey, 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 hey.
That's it. We're going to get copied. No. But hey, you know what? It's a vibe. I was sitting here like when the episode ended. But, overall, it's a cute anime. We'll see if it can keep going or if it's just going to keep doing this same shtick in every episode. If they can develop the characters and kind of move forward the plot and everything that's going on and develop it in a way that even if he doesn't tell her that he knows Russian and they can keep it interesting, I should probably I'll probably will keep watching. But if it kind of, starts to just get boring after a while because it's the same bit over and over. Oh, he's pretending he doesn't know Russian anymore. I might end up, turning this one off as well, like 3 episodes in. It all depends on if they can keep that momentum going. If they can keep me entertained, throw in some new things in there, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But then we have this one, and this one is the worst one that I've watched and the one that I've immediately dropped, and that is Days with My Stepsister. Now, if you remember in the last episode of the Otaku Experience, I talked about how I gave 10 shows that I'm actually interested in watching, and I gave 5 shows that you should just keep an eye out for. And this was on the 5 that you should keep an eye out for. And number 1 was because I think people are going to watch it, and people are watching it. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for She-Hulk to. Okay. Anyways, I hate the internet. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, it's also going to be a dumpster fire. And it turned out to be exactly that. Now, a lot of people are actually into this show for some reason. Like, I think people are into the fact that like it's taking itself super seriously. But guys, it's the same thing. Don't buy into the fact that it's taking itself like some serious character drama. Okay, they're still going to get together at the end. And people in the comments are already spoiling this. We know this. So, I'm not in the mood of watching like a show that I hate unless it's for Batime on my main channel. I'm just not in the routine of just like sitting and enjoying a show just because it's bad. Well, I wouldn't be enjoying it. I would want to kill myself. And so since I'm not doing that out of content, for content purposes, I'm not going to do it at all. So yeah, it's bad. I don't like it. I'm not watching it anymore. I'm turning it off. Oh, this bit at the end was hilarious. So after the ending, she because they moved into the father and the son live somewhere, and the new mom and his stepsister moved into their house. And so she takes the last bath of the night. So everybody else is in bed, and she's trying to figure out which light is what. And she accidentally turns on the wrong lights, and she why is my thing not working? Okay. Yeah. So she turns on these lights and she's like, wait a minute. And she kind of peeks her head through and she's like, oh, wait, this is the wrong light. And then she starts messing with them again. It's like a 30-second bit of just silence and her flipping things. It made me laugh so hard. So that was the one good part. Everything else, trash. Don't watch it. Move on. Don't even entertain it. It's not fun. If you have to try to explain why a relationship is okay, like if you have to go out of your way to like try to explain that, then, probably rethink some of your life choices. That's all I'll say. Then up next, we have one that I was actually pretty interested to see how this could have gone, if you guys remember. And this is called Pseudo Harem. And this is the one where she joins the drama club. This is Rin. She joins the drama club, and she immediately has this thing for Eiji. And he talks about how badly he wants a harem. And, within like 5 minutes, they're already like best friends. And so she's already like pretending to have these different personalities. Like she has a tsundere, she has a cool personality, all these different ones to kind of flirt with him and, all these things. So it's another one of these cute anime. And I'll see how it goes, kind of like with Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feeling in Russian, where there is like a core bit that is interesting for the first episode, but I don't want it to just stay there because it could get boring if it's the same bit and the same joke every single episode. I would like it to progress in some way. Not to say that they have to move past this bit because it's the name of the show, so this is the show. But, if they introduce new elements that make this same bit more interesting in every episode, I think that would be cool. But if it stays the same, not that it's bad, I might just get bored of watching the same bit every week, and so I might turn this off. But we'll see how it goes. But so far, I'm liking it. And then we have one of these that overall, the episode as a whole isn't really high on the totem pole of the shows I watched this past week. But the ending is what made me want to continue watching it and made me reconsider what I kind of thought this show was going to be. So this is Senpai is an Otakonoko. And this is the one where Makoto cross-dresses. And so you have this girl named Saki here in the black hair. She confesses to Makoto, thinking that Makoto is a girl. And then Makoto reveals that they're actually a he, and that they're just cross-dressing. This is what they do. And so Saki is like, this is even better. There's more of you to love. And so now Saki's like asking Makoto's other friend, this guy. Oh, wait. This guy, forgot what his name is, for advice on it. And then it turns out he also has a thing for Makoto, and he's had one for Makoto since they were children. And then, so all of this, was fine. All this was in the synopsis. And here's the interesting part. At the end of the episode, Makoto goes into, it looks like, kind of the gym locker area. And he takes off, all of the cross-dressing clothes and puts on, I guess, more masculine clothing, a more masculine school outfit. And it looks like he's going home for the day. And he says, good night, me. And then the episode just freaking ends. And so it ends on kind of this a lot more depressing note where you're like, oh, like his family is probably super, is either A, does not accept Makoto for how he wants to express himself, or B, he's afraid that they're going to be that way. Either way, that makes this much more interesting. And there's a whole side of this that I'm now more interested to see, with like this family drama going on the side. I don't think that's going to be like the main plot or anything like that, but it's an element in there that I didn't know was going to be there, and it made it a lot more interesting. So I'll probably stick out a couple more episodes just to see if they develop that plot line any further, or if that's going to be something that they wait until like the final 3 episodes to tackle. But it seemed pretty interesting to me. So we're going to move on from there. And then we get to the one I watched before I started filming the show today. And this is another one that I was really excited to watch. And this is called Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary. And I'll just say this right now. This was my favorite episode I've watched this week. This one seemed super fascinating to me. The characters are super interesting. I want to know where it goes next. The animation is fantastic. I was just enthralled. And I was so pissed off at the end when this guy... she works so hard to, her name's Osanai. She works so hard all day to get these strawberry tarts, and she waits for Kobato to come out after doing his mystery thing. And she's like, I can't wait to get these tarts because this is like a 1-year thing and they might sell out today, and then I'd have to wait until next spring to get them. Okay, then they finally get them. They go to a gas station to get some milk and stuff. And then this guy steals their freaking bike, and you watch the tarts go flying and splat. And they were the last two that the shop had, and so they're gone. And you just see this look on her face before the episode ends. And I was so, look at him. He knew what was up. Look, I was so upset. And so I can't wait to see them get vengeance on that. They kind of do like a little mystery thing, and it looks like he's able to piece things together. So it looks like we might get like a little mini mystery every episode for them to figure something out, while at the same time there's like a larger plot going on, which could be really interesting to see. But so far, this is the one I'm most invested in. If I had to choose an anime to like see where it goes, I would choose this one. Just because this one made me the most curious. Not to say that it's going to be the best anime by the end of the season, but this, in my opinion, has my vote for the best premiere that I've seen. But then we get to the big one. And this is the one that y'all are all probably waiting on, the one that most of y'all probably watched. And that is obviously Oshinoko. And Oshinoko season 2 started, and it's good. It's good. I will say this. I've seen some people defending this, and that's fine. For me, this was just it was a little hard to get into, with the first like 3 minutes being this one shot of, different things of like this play of an anime, or I guess it's a manga adaptation. They're doing one of those stage play adaptations of the source material, and you understand that your characters are in it, and so we get it. But at the same time, I was like, maybe move that to like the end, or maybe move it to when the play's about to start, like when we actually know what's going on. But that was like the intro, and then the opening happened, and I was like, oh. And so it's like finally like 5 minutes in, like I was actually like, oh, okay, here we go. And I started to like care. But, after the first 5 minutes, I thought it was a pretty solid episode. Fun as always. Akane and Kana, my two favorite characters from the first season, trying to figure out how best to do things and how to impress Aqua. I thought that was cute. I like how they were talking about how they had to cut some stuff out to streamline the show to make it work for a 2-hour play. I thought that was really fun. There's a lot of stuff in Oshinoko that I just enjoy, like the production aspect of it, even though a lot of it is kind of made in a way to dramatize. Is that a word? Dramatize it. I don't know. Anyways, I'm stupid if you guys didn't know. And so they do that kind of stuff, and it's kind of soap opera-y. It's not kind of. It's very soap opera-y in that way. But overall, I enjoy it. So other than like the first 5 minutes, I thought it was a pretty solid episode. Definitely a better premiere than the first season, in my opinion. So that's all the shows that I've watched this season. But hey, that's just me. What are you guys into that's going on this season? I would love to know what shows you guys watched, which ones, if you've dropped any, which ones you dropped. If you disagree with me on any of these shows, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're finna go into the comments and write a 3-page essay about why Days with My Stepsister is actually genius and we should root for them to get together, freaking go for it, and I'll respond next week. I just want to know what your thoughts are on all of this stuff. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. After the first season finale, the second season of Kaiju number 8 was announced. An announcement teaser was released following the finale. Production IG will continue to be the studio responsible for the animation, and Crunchyroll will continue to stream the series. No release window has been given so far. For more information about Kaiju number 8 and its second season and more, I'll put an Anime Corner article in the description. One thing that we've been talking about for like an eternity, it feels like, at least since we started this series last year, is the live-action Netflix One Piece series. And we will continue to talk about it because just this past week, production on the second season has officially started. The article I'm using for my source for this story is from Anime News Network, where they say Netflix streamed a new video on Monday to report that the second live-action season of Eiichiro Oda's One Piece manga has begun production. And in this video, it's just a video of like the cast getting all together again, where they're all landing and they're hugging and being like, hey, yo, what's up? It's just a really nice heartfelt video. And that's really it. We'll see how this goes. I will say this. I don't know how long the show is planning to film for, probably for a couple months, maybe 3 months. And then we'll probably, we already, have reports that said that this was going to be coming out sometime in 2025. So we might start getting... we might be getting a teaser trailer in a few months here, just to see where it kind of goes, where they might not have super heavy effects shots just yet. I don't know. It could be interesting to see how the production develops. We might see some set photos. We might get to see some behind the scenes of how some of these new cast members will look as their characters. It'll be really interesting to see how this goes. Here's another story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. The third season of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation has been confirmed following the ending of its second season. Now, this should come as no surprise with how well the series continues to do with the ratings as well as with reception. Further details about the anime will be confirmed at a later date, and for more information about Mushoku Tensei and its third season, I'll put an Anime Corner article in the description. So after the release of the live-action One Piece over at Netflix, we got an announcement that kind of seemed to bewilder and confuse the vast majority, if not all, of the anime community, while also intriguing us and making us kind of excited. And that announcement was, of course, that a remake of the anime, animated by Studio WIT, would be coming, entitled The One Piece. Well, we've finally gotten some news on the project, and it isn't necessarily great news either, but it might not be bad news. We'll talk about it. And the article I'm using as my source for this story is from CBR, where they say George Wada, the CEO of Production IG from Kaiju Number 8, Ghost in the Shell, and WIT Studio, who did Attack on Titan and Spy X Family, has revealed that they are moving forward with a One Piece anime series remake, citing technological, if I can talk, advancements that would mean franchise fans might not watch the original series. Wada spoke about how he aims to take IG and WIT to the next level in an interview with Real Sound. One of the symbolic projects that involves both companies is The One Piece, he revealed. Eiichiro Oda has a strong desire to spread Japanese manga to more people around the world, and for that reason, he also took on the challenge of making it a live-action version of One Piece. To spread Japanese anime further around the world, it is necessary to reach people who have never been exposed to it before. Wada cited how Haikyuu's success in Japan is introducing new fans to the series, and how both we and Oda have the desire to spread anime to people who don't know about it, and to the world. The One Piece was planned as an entry point. So essentially, there was a headline that came out a week or so ago that said that the younger generation, depending on an anime fan's age, the younger they are, the less likely they are to actually be watching One Piece. And the reason for that is because One Piece has been going on for 20 years in the anime. And they don't want to try to catch up 1,000 episodes. And also, I think they'll talk about it a little more in this article, that the animation towards the beginning, not that it's bad, but it's not as good as it is now. It's not as refined. The quality isn't as good. Just things like that from a production standpoint, just it being older, things like that, that might make it more difficult for the people trying to go back, and they might not be able to get as immersed. I think that's kind of goofy. I love watching older anime, but that's just me. And then the article goes on to say, the announcement of the One Piece remake drew widespread interest from anime fans. WIT Studio is renowned for its quality, producing works like Attack on Titan seasons 1 through 3. Wada revealed that Production IG is supporting the One Piece's remake production, and elaborated on how it works with studios like Cloverworks and Kara to improve its series, with Kaiju Number 8 as the latest example. The company also collaborates with studios like Trigger, MAPPA, Comics Wave Films, and more. Nevertheless, some One Piece fans have voiced concerns over the possible use of AI in the remake. Wada's later comments will likely add to this concern, saying that the official staff regularly discuss the utilization of AI. As technology evolves, he continued, we will continue to explore ways to utilize AI and digital drawing tools to create better works, and we hope to raise the level of the entire anime industry. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. So like the article was saying, and like I was saying earlier, because of how anime fans, newer ones, either don't want to, or because of how the animation and the production just looks, and they don't feel like it's feasible realistically for them to catch up on the original One Piece anime. This is being made by, like, Oda wanted this to happen so that people could get introduced to One Piece, and this could be their new entry point. I still have the belief that they might streamline some things. They might cut some things out. They might make things a little shorter. Unless they're planning on this new anime also being like 20 years long. But I think they're going to cut out some filler. I think they're going to streamline things as much as possible, kind of like the live action's doing. And I think by the end, they might, this WIT anime, if it goes through the entire One Piece arc, because that's one theory I have. Another theory I have is that they're just going to go up until, the other One Piece that's going on right now, the main one, until like that anime started to look more modern in its look. Maybe the WIT anime goes up to that point and then stops. So that way audiences can transfer over there. Or it'll just streamline and it might try to do the show in like half the amount of episodes or something like that. It'll be interesting to see. But getting to the point of this article and what he was saying, we have to talk about AI. And the utilization of AI. Now, a lot of people might hear that and be like, "Oh gosh, there's going to be like an AI score. There's going to be, they're going to use AI to animate the show. They're going to have AI voice actors. Going to be transcribed by AI. Everything's going to be AI. It's going to be awful." And I understand those fears, but I don't think that that's what they mean. This is like the one time I'm going to defend this. I think what he means is they're going to try to, in terms of like visual effects and compositing, where you have to do the same thing over and over and over again to each shot and to each sequence. And it might get really tedious and it takes a really long time, especially when you're trying to air an anime weekly, and you have to do a certain amount of stuff to get it out on time. They might be using the AI to not like have less workers, but to help the workers that are already there not be as stressed and to make the thing a little more streamlined. Like have the AI, instead of you manually repeating something over and over, do it a couple times yourself and then have the AI, follow a prompt that has it repeat it for you. And then, the artist can go in and do some touch-ups if need be, rather than like, "Hey, AI, animate this fight scene for me." Like, I don't think that that's going to happen. They might say, "Okay, AI, I've introduced this, explosion effect or this like particle or something, and it needs to track over this character's like face or something. They just got beat with a ray. I don't know. And it needs to track over their face while they're moving, and they're moving really fast because it's an action sequence. And I could do that, and I could go in every single frame and try to do it myself. Or I could have the AI, I could do it for a couple frames so the AI kind of knows what it's looking for, and then the AI can do it for the rest of that sequence, and then I can play it back. And if it needs any touch up, I can do that, and then I can move on to the next thing." I think that that's what he's talking about in this. And if that's how they're going to use it, I have no problem with them using this. AI should be a tool used by artists to make their art, but AI should never replace the artist. AI will never be the artist. AI will only be a tool and should only be a tool. And so that the humans who are creating the actual art can just use it as need be and then put it up when they don't need it anymore. I think that is how we want it to be. Now, who knows, maybe in after this anime comes out, we get like this, like all these things of the animators talking about it was horrible. They like only wanted to use AI and we couldn't do anything. And, all this stuff comes out. We'll talk about it then. And I'll take back everything I said. Like, this is a mistake, but I think that that's genuinely what's going to be happening here, that they just want to use it as a tool to make the product better, and to release it at a more quality time, to not overwork their people. All this news is coming out about what's going on at MAPPA, and I don't think they want that bad press. I think that they're literally trying to do this for the best of the anime, rather than trying to like save money or anything like that. I think that's definitely an element of it, but you're never going to not have that be an element when we're talking about a business here. So overall, I'm not necessarily opposed to this being a thing, but, I can understand a lot of people being like, whoa, when they saw this headline. I was too. And then I read the article and I was like, oh, okay, it's actually not that bad. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. If you disagree with me, let me know. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. A new key visual for Beastar's final season part 1 has come out, as well as a December release window for the anime. There's been no release window set for the second part of the anime, but it will most likely be an early release in 2025. For more information about Beastars and its final season, I'll put an Anime Corner article in the description. An anime that took the world by storm back in 2022 was Lycoris Recoil. The anime went on to win like all these awards, be nominated for a heck ton of awards, more than I thought it deserved to be nominated for. I thought it was good, but along with it just being one of the most watched shows of that entire year. However, with the show being an anime original, it's left a lot of people unsure as to whether or not the anime will even continue or have a follow-up, whether that be like a movie or a show or an OVA or, if it continues in manga form, whatever. And it's been that way for a couple of years now. I think we literally just celebrated like earlier this week, the 2-year anniversary of the anime. But now it looks like we might actually be getting a follow-up on the anime with a film. And this comes to us from a Twitter post by Annie Tsumi, who says, Lycoris Recoil anime movie is reportedly in development according to an A1 Pictures producer. There's been no official announcement about it yet. And then in the thread that they post, there is another, they put an image to the source that they're using where someone, tweeted about, an original, another Lycoris Recoil thing, and then the producer responded. So they say, Mashal and Solo Leveling are my favorite anime this season. I'm also waiting for the announcement of Lycoris Recoil. I liked the original A1 Pictures anime. To where this producer at A1 Pictures says, Lycoris has a new animated film in the works. Please look forward to it. You will surely see something interesting. Okay. Now, this is just a leak. This could all turn out to be a bunch of hubbub and nothing. All right. But I think there's something here. I think that there is definitely, I wouldn't say definitely, but I think there's going to be a film. Now, could it be like the stupid Bocchi the Rock compilation film that's literally just the anime, but the movie form? Maybe, but could it be another story with these characters that we haven't seen before? Yes. And I think that that's very interesting. There's not a lot of commentary here just because it's like, yeah, I think the leak's true, guys. Okay, bye. But, there's no plot elements. There's nothing like that. I don't really know where it would go. Maybe the characters are older. I know some people were definitely thinking that there was like a romantic relationship there. Maybe they could explore that. But other than that, I don't really know where it could go. I'm not really like, there's not a bunch of lore, and that I don't really remember the anime, if I'm being honest with you. I remember certain things, like I have images and I remember certain bits and things like that. But overall, like I wasn't the biggest Lycoris Recoil fan. So maybe ask someone that's super big on this anime and they might have like all these theories of where it could go, but that's not really me. I'm just interested to see where it goes. I would be interested. I would buy a ticket. We'll probably, if I'm being honest, we'll probably get an announcement, sometime soon, in the future. Probably like what happened with the Demon Slayer leak. We'll probably get an announcement for it here in a few weeks, I would think. Like probably by the end of summer for sure. But I would even wager, end of July, maybe mid-August, somewhere around there. We might have some. And then we'll talk about it more there when there's like an actual synopsis and we know like what it's actually going to be about. We can talk about it a little bit more. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. At Anime Expo on Friday, the Trigun Stampede sequel finally got a title, Trigun Stargaze. The sequel will air in 2025 and will apparently be the final arc of the story. The creator of Trigun, Yasuhiro Naito, drew an illustration to celebrate the announcement. For more information about Trigun Stargaze, I'll leave an Anime Corner article in the description. Well, guys, this would usually be the point where we go into like the anime community stuff, but like the past few weeks, nothing has come out, so we're gonna go straight into the audience rankings for this summer season. We finally have something, and it's from Anime Corner. We're still waiting on the anime trending audience rankings, as well as the winners from the spring season. But for now, we have the Anime Corner rankings, and at number 1. We have Alia sometimes hides her feelings. Heinz. She has Heinz ketchup. Okay. Sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. And I got 16.8% of the vote. Oshinoko Season 2 is at number 2. Days with My Stepsister is at number 3. Suicide Squad Isekai at number 4. Pseudo Harem at number 5. Slime Season 3 at number 6. The Osan Newbie Adventurer, trained to death by the most powerful party, became invincible. Who's making these titles? And that was at number 7. At number 8, we have The Strongest Magician in the Demon's Lord Army Was a Human. Spice and Wolf continues to be in the top 10 at number 9. And Mission Yozakura Family is at number 10. And finally, we're now going to get into the comments from last episode. If you'd like to have me respond to a comment or a question from, in the next episode, just hop into the comment section and literally leave your thoughts on whatever. It doesn't even have to be about the episode, and I'll answer it. So starting off, we have Italiano Straw Hat saying, interesting decision to make Demon Slayer's final arc of film trilogy. I personally didn't like the ending very much. Felt rushed and undercooked to me. We'll still watch it though, as it is wildly better than anything Hollywood produces these days. Gotta love those disses at Hollywood, am I right? I've heard that from a few people now, that the Demon Slayer ending is actually like not the greatest. So that kind of makes me nervous. But who knows? They might add some original content, flesh it out in a little way. Maybe keep it overall the same, but maybe streamline it to make it work a little bit better. I know they did that with Attack on Titan, and its ending, at least in my opinion, they made it a little better. It is definitely an interesting decision, but hopefully you liked the films more than you liked the actual manga. Then we have Lirad4582 says, the Mugen Train movie is fantastic and was marketed as a full-on movie. Entertainment District and Swordsmith Village was not. It was clearly announced by Ufotable that their series primer with theatrical releases and explicitly mentioned that it will be a summary of previous arc plus first episodes of the new series. The description are all over the net. I don't understand why people like you expected otherwise and then got disappointed by it. Okay, so I could be wrong, but I believe I don't think I ever said like that these should be like full on like narrative films. Like I knew that these were going to have like the previous episodes and then the new episode. My thing was the disruption and it took the audience out of it. When you stop what's going on, I'm 25 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this fight is epic, and then credits. And then, we do it all over again and then credits. And then we do it all over again and then credits. For me, it was just like, stop breaking it up, make it one experience. That's fine. And then move it, and then move the credits to the end. I wouldn't mind sitting through, 4 sets of credits if the experience overall was better. Like, I think people knew what they were going into. It's just the way they did it wasn't satisfying. It wasn't enjoyable. And so we just didn't go. So, there's that. Then we have I am Jax 1290 says, LFG, keep up the content. Thank you so much. I will keep up the content, and it's good to have you here. And then Finn Final Legond, I hope I pronounced that right, says, at the time of my comment, I'm not interested in the summer's anime. I'll say this, overall, you're not missing too much. I really only have a couple shows that I'm like fully into. Like I have Alia, which I thought was kind of entertaining. But really only Oshinoko and Soshimin are like things that like I was like I'm invested. Like, I want to know what's going on next. And Oshi no Ko has the advantage of being a sequel. So the first season already did all the hard work of getting me caught up with the characters. But this, for me, Soshimin is really interesting. So I would recommend checking that out if you haven't checked this out. But I've heard that from a lot of people that summer is not working for them. So it'll be interesting to see like how this does. I know that there's a lot of slice of life and rom-com anime this season. And so that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. If a lot of people just kind of take this season to go watch something else and then, come back in fall, or, we'll see how it goes. But, overall, I would I understand that you're not missing too much in my opinion, but, there's a couple that I would recommend there. And anyways, guys, those are all of the comments and the questions from the last episode. And so that does it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you prefer to listen to the show rather than watch, or maybe you can't have a YouTube video open when the show comes out, you can always listen to it on the Otaku Experience podcast on Spotify. And hey, if you want to keep up with me outside of the show, you can subscribe to me on my main YouTube channel, Kingtanic, where I also make anime content, but in a less serious and professional way. You can also follow me on Instagram at Kingtanic, or follow me on Twitter at Kingtanic Israel. And if you're new to the Burnettwork, consider sticking around. We have some great shows for you to watch every week, most of which are hosted by the one, the only, Robert Meyer Burnett. The Otaku Experience is the anime non-news show where we talk about the current goings-on in the anime and the manga industry with our very uneducated opinions, hosted by me, Israel King, Kingtanic, every week only on the Burnettwork. Well, at least I try every week. And with all that being said, guys, this episode comes to a close. I will see you all next time.